What's up? One Big Bugga coming at you with Euro Truck Simulator 2. My voice sounds a little different. I'm feeling a little down right now. That's why I'm recording this much later than I normally would. It's well after 11 already. Just some things that I overheard in conversations recently, and to be fair, there weren't conversations that had anything to do with me. Oh, this is nice. I have no game sound. Must have bumped my... Yeah, okay, no. Thingamabobs is, boobs is, what's is. And that's not the destination we're going for. Thank you. I forgot what I said we're taking. Alright. I said we're taking that. Did I click on that by accident? I must have. I'm pretty sure I said that's what we're taking, so... It's a little bit of ways, though. It's like not actually like right here. It's interesting. But it doesn't matter. You know, just... It's easy to get depressed when you hear certain things. And I heard, I was watching, I actually have it streaming in the background, although I have the sound off right now. Maximilian Dude, who is a fighting game enthusiast. He loves all kinds of fighting games and plays them all the time on YouTube, and I'll occasionally watch him stream on Twitch, and I was, where he's not the best fighting game player, and I've talked about him before. He's probably the most popular fighting game personality. He's done a lot to help promote fighting games. I really think he had a big part in bringing back the popularity of fighting games and helping to get more people interested in fighting games. His YouTube channel is really big, and his Twitch stream, he's got like 10,000 plus subscribers. He's actually doing a birthday stream today, and people have been donating $5, $7, $20, $50, $100, $200, and I'm not kidding. And I'm not talking about a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm talking they're coming in on almost endless stream. By the time this guy's done today, he'll have probably made... I could easily say anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 just streaming. It wouldn't surprise me. And it's that insane. His followers, his really truly devoted followers, are that devoted to it. And on top of that, all the people that are either subscribing to him new today or resubscribing to him, because YouTubers, Twitch streamers get part of that money. They get, I believe, they get a large part of the how's the speed camera? They get a large part of the donation money. Donation money is like $4.99, or subscription money to subscribe to someone is $4.99. And when you subscribe to them, I think it like cancels ads. You don't have to watch ads, and a couple other benefits. You get to use personal emojis and whatnot that are specific to the streaming. Good God, fucking frame rate. Could you just please behave? And here we are. Driving without a trailer, man. It's so easy to I mean, it's easy to stop short with a trailer. Without a trailer, it's just that much more. Really? Is it really this tough to load? Just really. So anyways, yeah. Max is a very big personality on Twitch, YouTube, fighting game. As I said, he's done a lot to help bring back fighting game popularity. I've been watching his channel grow now. I believe he's had like the majority of the growth of his channel has come within the last couple of years, 2 or 3. His channel just exploded. And he used to do these things called Assist Me, where he'd help teach you about fighting games and moves and how to play characters and what they do, combo links, how to fight against them and whatnot. But he did them with this kind of like big storytelling thing. It was actually really interesting and cool. He did characters, and as his channel got bigger and bigger, the productions got more and more elaborate, and they were just really good. And he's one of the YouTube subscribers I've subscribed to because of him. I like him. I can't say he never gets angry, ever, but when he comes to fighting games, he rarely gets angry. He gets salty, but there's a difference between salty and angry. A lot of people, when somebody rages and goes on and gets mad, and when I say, "Oh, you're salty," no, you're angry. Salty can have a bit of an angry flavor to it, but for the most part, you still respect the guy that you fought against, This is an interesting way out of here. It's a very strangely paved road. Anyways, he's also had a actually very large part. He won't say this, but I will. I say this. He's had a large part in helping to work, and I mean legitimately helping to work. His name is on the credits, doing production work for the story mode and whatnot. Yeah, sure, just go right ahead. Of Killer Instinct 3, the newest Killer Instinct. He's had a major part in that as well. That's how far he's gone. He's become big enough that companies actually approach him and was like, "Hey, you want to help us with this?" So that's who he is, and he found out that this guy, who's also big in the fighting community, that his wife had recently passed away, and they did a fundraiser. Okay. They did a fundraiser for her on GoFundMe, and his community, his followers, his Twitch followers, raised $9,000. They raised $9,000 for this guy, and that did a double strike on me in terms of negative feelings. Now, don't get me wrong. I know what it's like to lose. I lost my wife. You all know that. And I am happy for this guy in terms of that he's gotten all this help. But hearing all this made me, number one, of course, remember my wife. And number two, it also made me upset because when I reached out to people, not you guys here, and not like my friends like the Red Tails on Axon or anything like that, because I didn't know them. But when I reached out to the general public, when I reached out to close friends and friends of my wife, and it was like, hey, look, I'm not asking for you guys to give a lot. I understand. But a little in abundance can be a lot. I have this car I'm trying to pay for. If anyone could help me, I think at the time I had like $4,500, $5,000 left on it. That's all I was looking for. It was enough to pay it off one time. And I am grateful for the people that did give me money, and I got like $200. And I actually did do a GoFundMe, and that's where the donations came from. And I don't know, it just kind of hurt, you know. I know you can't expect much. It's what I call an illogical hurt. Just because of what it is why it hurts. But to me, it's like a dumb hurt, you know. It's a pang of jealousy that I don't know how to explain it beyond that. It's like it's irrational. Is what I'm trying to say. It's an irrational hurt, illogical hurt for something like that. And I think it just comes from the fact that in certain ways, and I got to make sure I word this very, very carefully, because there's a fine line in when you talk about something like this that makes it sound like you're really a jerk and you hate where you are, which I don't. Okay. There's a fine line there, but I can't help but feel in some ways, yo, okay. I didn't think guardrails would be up. Let me stop and pay. There's no guardrails. We all get this kind of hurt. We all get this kind of pain, where, in your own way, I guess you could say, you're ashamed of the way you feel. You're ashamed of being hurt. You're ashamed of being jealous because you know it's not right. I can't help it. And as I was saying before, I said I got to word this right, is I look at the situation I'm in compared to the situation I could be in if people helped. The situation I'm in is I'm living with my mother, which I am very happy with. I love the home I'm in. As I've said before, I feel unbelievably comfortable and happy and relaxed as I've ever been. I love it here, and I don't regret my decision. But I look at where I could be if people helped. One of two things could have happened. Thing number one, depending on how much help I got, I could have paid for the car, shipped it, and had it here, which would have been huge. To be able to have that car here, to be able to run my mother around, to have my own freedom to go where I want, when I need to, or to be able to run errands for my mother without having to call up and ask this 85-year-old man to drive me and my mother around. At the very least, I could have paid for the car, and then I could have given it to my mother-in-law. But to be honest, if I could have paid for it in full, without their help. This was before they started helping pay for it. The minute they started helping pay for it, the car became theirs, in my eyes. But if I had managed to be able to do that without needing their help, then what would have happened in my eyes is I would have sold it. I would have tried to get a few $1,000s for it the day that I was to leave. Or the day before. A few days before, whatever. And that money I could have used to buy a second-hand car. There's a lot of nice second-hand cars on Craigslist. I mean, just to give you an idea, if you're patient and if you look hard enough and you look long enough, there was this single owner car, you know, high mileage. This thing was around 150,000 miles, but it was in immaculate shape. The body was perfect. The tires had just been redone. All the scheduled maintenance had been redone. All the upkeep maintenance had been done. Everything that ever needed to be fixed on it when it broke got fixed. The guy had the paperwork. He said he just wanted a new car. He had owned that car 12 years. And was just like, I want something different now. This was an older man's car that was well taken care of. And the guy had it for sale. $800. Alright, now you subtract 12 years from now. Okay, so we're 2016. This was a 2004. It was 2004 Cadillac. Yeah, Cadillac. It was a Cadillac. It was a 2004 Cadillac. $800. Perfect shape, just high miles. Now, that's just going off the ad. Believe me, I don't just fully go off the ad. But there are some things in this world you tend to bank on a little bit more than other things. One of them is an elderly person's car. Because elderly people, especially elderly people that are well off, keep their car in good shape. I've been traveling with that. Yeah, I don't need that. But they tend, like my grandmother, she always did the maintenance on her car, always got things fixed when they broke, you know, took it in for regular checkups. The mechanics say, oh, your brake needs to be done, she'd get the brakes done, your tires need to be changed, she'd get the tires done, tires need to be rotated, she'd have them rotated. She kept the car up. And when you do that, cars can last you a very, very long time. And oh my god, it would have been perfect. Big Cadillac sedan, ride around in comfort, air conditioning, nice big trunk to haul stuff in from the store. Easy to get in and out of for my mother because it's not low, it's not high, and it was only $800. If I could have even gotten $2,000 for my car, I could have come here, bought the car for $800, registered and insured it with the rest of the money, and then taken the money I had and saved it until the 27th for saved it to the 27th. This September 27th is my mom's birthday, and taking her out somewhere really nice. unfortunately, it didn't happen. You know, I hate when people do that because that's not necessarily to me. That's not necessarily someone sending something to me. That could be my Red Tail group chat going off, and somebody sending pictures and whatnot through there, and it's like, you know what? Knock it the fuck off. There's already been some grumblings of times when people do stuff like that, you know? Pretty sure there's a way to shut the notifications off, and I just don't know it. God, how many things can you share? Knock it off already. I really need to set my Skype to do not disturb when I'm recording. I just kind of take it for granted. And this is the second time this shit has happened while I'm playing, that somebody sends something through. And it's like, it's after 11 o'clock at night. Most of the Red Tails are gone to bed. There's really hardly anyone on. So whoever this is that's sharing stuff, if it's the Red Tail chat, are sharing it with nobody. Most of them won't see it because by the time they do, they'll scroll up out of the way and people won't backlog the chat and read. If it's somebody sending something to me, they know that I'm usually like, I've told a lot of people that after 11 o'clock I'm winding down and I really don't want to get into anything. You know? Just me being grouchy, I suppose. I don't think we'll make this run in a single shot. I thought we might, but this crane's proving a little tougher for this truck, especially that we have all of these fucking toll booths. From what I understand, there's like a lot of toll booths like in France, around that area, because excuse me, they don't have like a registration where you paid for the privilege of putting a car on the road, so they keep the roads up with toll booths. But is it really this prevalent in all of Europe? Because, okay, great, maybe you'll have to register your car, but every time you go drive somewhere, you gotta pay for it. I'm climbing the hill at low speed. Yeah, I don't think I have to worry about speeding. Well, at least that worked. We got up the hill okay. I've become obsessed with World of Tanks, and I don't know why. I don't particularly rage in it. I do get upset when things happen, but it's become my new obsession game. I'm tier 4, tier 5 tanks mostly now. I might have talked about this already, but I can honestly never remember exactly what I talked about. And after a while, I'll just probably talk about it again because I've forgotten that I said something about it. I'll even spend a little bit of money on it, you know. This is really funny. You take a look here at Euro Truck, yeah? And you see, well, this is modded in. That's right. I remember this is modded. Because in Euro Truck, in American Truck, they don't have that. They do have something that, with little golden arches, M's, that you know is supposed to stand for McDonald's. Like Wahlberg is supposed to be Walmart. And I was thinking, well, they got a much more accurate representation in here than they do in American Truck Simulator. I wonder why that is. Well, it's because this is modded. I forget about that little detail. Yeah, I'm enjoying World of Tanks. I'm mostly tank destroyers, heavy tanks. I do have a couple light tanks that I'm playing around with. I do have an artillery that I use. I'm trying to get to the FV 304, 403, Bert the Avenger is what it's called. My favorite tank probably is the OI Experimental right now, just because of how powerful its gun is. I mean, to give you an idea, the OI Experimental can pretty much obliterate most light tanks that it comes across. Severely damaged to obliterate, depending on its tier, the medium tanks it comes across, and will make a heavy tank think twice, and it can probably pop a lot of tank destroyers in one shot. One example I had today, and it was funny as hell. I was chugging along and my OI headed for this corner of this cliff, or this big hill rather. It's this big hill, and I was headed for the corner of it to peek around, see if I had something to take a shot on. And running next to me was another tank. I forget what it was. But he was running next to me, and then the next thing you know, as we're getting up on the corner, this little, I don't know if it was a Lux or if it was an M3 Stewart or what it was, but he came flying around the corner at high speed and came right out in front of us, like, I don't know, 20 feet away. And there's this huge OI Experimental just sitting there, and he came to a stop. And you can hear, like, you can legitimately hear, shit, what's his name now? I can't even think. Morgan Freeman. You can hear Morgan Freeman at this point. And it was at this precise moment that Daniel knew he fucked up. I don't know what name he actually uses, but yeah, you could see the tank stop. And the turret on top of tanks, you know, of course pivots around, and depending on the tank, can pivot pretty quickly. Light tanks, they usually pivot pretty fast. Well, it can often look like, you know, a tank's looking around because the turret points to where the guy's looking. And you could see the turret go back and forth between me and the tank that was next to me. And you just know that there was that oh shit moment. You know? And I just one-shotted him for like, I don't know how much the total damage was, but somewhere around 324, 325. And hell, just boom, one shot, he was gone. There was another match where it was a top tier. I was top tier. Not only was I a top tier tank, which having an OI experimental as your top tier heavy tank is a huge boon. Uh, but there was no, or there was only one artillery. There was only one artillery, and the other enemy team only had one heavy tank as well. And I think he was like the OI experimental is a tier 5, and I think he was a tier 4. It was I don't know the full name of the vehicle. It's very long, but in the game it's known as the DW Wagon 2. And I never ran into him. He got taken out somewhere else. But if I did, he'd have been no match for me. It's that simple. I don't need fuel yet. And I just rampaged through that game. I really didn't even bother to try and hide. I just kept coming around, bullying people. I just kept coming around corners. I kept bullying people. I don't think I ever let go of the forward button. I mean, I literally just rolled from one end of the map to the other. That was a little scary. Without stopping, I rammed a guy, and ramming's a very light term. The OI experimental does not need to get up much speed to ram someone. As a matter of fact, most tanks don't need to get up a lot of speed to ram somebody. You can just gently tap them and do some damage. But the OI experimental is so big and so heavy. It's like in excess of 100 tons or something like that. It really doesn't need to go very fast to ram someone and do a considerable amount of damage to him. And I literally just went like, tap, and the guy blew up. He had very, very little health left, though. But I forget what I was going to say about ramming, but oh yeah, the OI. When I say you don't need to build them at speed, the OI experimental for like a 75 to a 100 plus tank, as huge as it is, and it is huge. It is the largest tank out there, save for possibly its brother, the OI, not OI experimental, the OI, and probably the ONI. I think possibly. I think the ONI may even be considerably narrower than the OI experimental and the OI. But they're two of the largest tanks in the game, the OI experimental and the OI, for sure. They're just beasts, massive tanks. However, that aside, the OI experimental can actually be pretty quick. It takes a while to get up to speed for an OI experimental in comparison to a lot of other tanks. But it can roll up to like 40 kilometers per hour, which for any heavy tank is actually really impressive. For something as big as the OI, the experimental, it's insane. It is really insane. But I think I will get gas. Just because. Actually wouldn't be a bad time to rest either. Oops. No! I'm just. Oh no, we've still got time to rest. Okay, we're good. Oops. We can go for a little while longer yet. You know what? With 542 kilometers left to go, I'm just going to cut it here. The next episode will be a little shorter than normal, but it'll still be a decent length. Okay, we're good. Alright, folks, so that's going to be me done for this episode. I hope you've been enjoying this as much as I've been enjoying bringing it to you. Until next time, this is going to be